Before we begin multiplying integers, let's review a little vocabulary. So the numbers that are being multiplied together are called factors. 2 times 3, these are called factors. The result is going to be called the product. Also, there are different ways of writing a multiplication problem. In this case, I'm using the dot. Another way to write it would be to use parentheses. And in some cases, you might see all the numbers in parentheses. These three ways would be acceptable. However, do avoid writing your multiplication using the X. In Math 1, we use the X to indicate multiplication, but because this quarter we will be looking at variables, this can sometimes be confusing. So don't do it this way. Let's look at some rules for multiplication. Basically, if you have a positive number and you're multiplying that positive number to another positive number, your answer will also be positive. In Math 1, we spent a lot of time working on multiplication and with positive numbers, and so you've had a lot of practice with that. 4 times 3 is 12. All of these are going to be positive numbers. When you have an even numbered factors that are negative, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, then my answer will also be positive. Negative 5 times negative 2 is going to be a positive 10. Negative 4 times negative 8 is going to be a positive 32. I'm going to put a little asterisk here because I do want to talk about this after I talk about the next kind of problem you're going to see. The next one, of course, will be a positive times a negative, or you might start with a negative and then multiply that with a positive. In both instances, your answer or product will be a negative answer. So let's have a few examples. Let's say we have 10 times negative 5. My answer is going to be negative 50. If we start with a negative, negative 2 times 4, my answer is going to be a negative 8. So these are really the main rules that you want to keep track of when you're doing multiplication of integers. I want to go back to this problem here, and this is really only true when we have an even number of factors, like 2 factors in this case, or maybe 4 factors, or 6 factors, or 24 factors. In all of those cases, because we have an even number of odd numbers, our answer will be positive. However, when we have an odd number of factors, like 3 factors or 5 factors, then our answer will be a negative. And so let's go through a couple of examples. Let's say we have 4 negative factors. So this would be an even number of factors, of negative factors. Okay, so let's say we have negative 2 times negative 1 times negative 3 times negative 4. When we solve these, we're going to solve left to right, just as we would with order of operations. -2 times -1 is a positive 2, because we know that 2 negatives will give us a positive. I'm going to rewrite everything else. Now we have a positive times a negative, which is this scenario here. So that's going to give us a -6, and then I bring down that -4. I'm left with 2 negatives. Now 2 negatives will give us a positive. So our answer is 24. Let's do a similar problem, but instead of 4 factors, we'll work with 3 factors. So we have an odd number of negative factors. Okay, let's say we have -1 times -5 times -3. Again, we're going to solve left to right. -1 times -5, that's this scenario. We're going to get a +5. Bring down what's left. 5 times -3, that's over here. We're going to get a -15. Okay, so if you want to fill in what you're going to get, the product will be positive, and in this case, the product will be negative. Now there's one other type of problem that I'm going to talk about here, and that's when we're multiplying a factor by 1. So we know that when we multiply a number by 1, say 4 times 1, we're going to get the number we started out with. 1 times 5 is going to be 5. -3 times 1 is going to be -3. 1 times -10 is going to be -10. So that's when we're multiplying by 1. When we multiply by -1, we're going to get the opposite answer. So when we multiply by -1, so 4 times -1, that's actually going to be a -4. -1 times 10 is going to give us a -10. -3 times -1, that's going to give us a +3, and -1 times a -5 is going to give us a +5. So in all of these instances, when we're multiplying by a -1, we're actually getting the opposite of what we started out with. 4 becomes -4, 10 becomes -10, -3 becomes a +3, and -5 becomes a +5.